Hi, so welcome to class tonight. Our class tonight is on 72-hour kits, what you really need. I'm really excited about this class. I've been working on it for a couple of months now and trying different things, reading a ton of things, and learning things. You all remember during Hurricane Katrina, the catastrophe that happened at the Superdome. And the people that were there, the sicknesses that were there, the illnesses that were there, and how long it took for government help to be able to get in. We don't want that to happen to you. Mike Levitt, who was the former Secretary of Health and Human Services, I believe he was the secretary at the time of Katrina, said any state, any community, or for that matter, any citizen that fails to prepare, assuming that the federal government can take care of them, will be tragically wrong. And we've seen that over and over and over again. All kinds of examples that you can only depend on you. If you want your family to be taken care of, you have to be able to do that. So tonight, we're going to learn a little bit how to do that. So I did tons of research. I did research on Pinterest, how to build a 72-hour kit on a budget. I found cute little Pinterest 72-hour kits. I found ready-made kits, all different kinds. This one happened to be my favorite. If you notice, here we have the LDS 72 Survival Kit, the Mormon 72 Survival Kit. They're hitting both names there. And I mean, it's $62.99 and it had a bunch of junk in it. So don't fall for the hype of, something looking like that it's really exciting and good for you. I also did a lot of research on what I consider real survival kits. These are people that are survivalists. These are the kind of kits that they put together. And he does kind of go through and give you some hints of what he put in there. He talks about first aid items, about water purification tablets or drops, fire starting equipment, signaling items, food procurement items. By that he means snares and fishing equipment, and shelter items. And then underneath he gives all these little ideas of other kinds of things that he has as part of the survival kit. If you'll notice, this is not very much stuff. It's not a very big kit. It makes actually about this much amount of stuff. I don't have the snares in there, or the fishing equipment, because I don't know how to use them, so it really doesn't do me much good to have them in there. But it's not very much stuff. And it is for people that have a lot of skills. I don't know how many of you fall into that category of being a survivalist, that you have a ton of skills that you could just live for the rest of your life on this little backpack and stuff. Hey, so good, you're on the same boat as me. All right, so let's talk about some ready-made survival kits that are on the market and what is good and what is bad about them. This is one from Wise Foods. It actually, you could buy it at Costco, Walmart, wherever, those kinds of places. It's a kit put together. The thing that really stood out to me with this one that's the big no-no is the food that's in it. If you'll notice, almost the entire pack is food, and guess what this food needs? Water. Okay, so guess how much water you have to store for that? I'm telling you, a lot. Not even more that you want to carry. So not a good idea for a 72-hour kit. Next week, you're going to be learning about, next month, you're going to be learning about emergency foods for dummies. It's going to be a great class about what happens after the first 3 days after a quake, a big quake or a big thing, and for the next month, the kinds of foods that would be really good for you to be eating. All right. As far as foods, these are not bats for your 72-hour kits. And these are probably all things that some of you may have in your 72-hour kits. Freeze-dried food, MREs, canned food, those just add water foods, beef jerky, those are a healthy granola bar. These are all not that's for different reasons. The granola bar is not that because you have to rotate them really quickly. Like, especially if you're keeping it in your car, you have to rotate it like every month because it will go rancid. The cans and their MREs are both really heavy. A 3-day supply of MREs weighs over 8 pounds. Just in food. A 3-day supply of the freeze-dried Mountain House foods, besides the fact you need a lot of water for it, it takes up almost the entire backpack, leaving you not room for anything else. So, in my opinion, you're going to want survival bars. And we're going to be talking about, you're going to be getting to taste those tonight. The reason why I believe survival bars are so good is they're relatively lightweight. They only, you see mine around here? They only are about this big. This is a 3-day supply of food. It doesn't have a lot of salt in it, so it doesn't make you thirsty when you eat it. To me, they taste like cookies. I could eat them all day. And so anyway, they're really good. They come in all different flavors, and that's why we brought you a little taste feast tonight, because you are going to want to try the ones you like. When Crystal and I were originally tasting all these, we tasted this one particular one, but I'm not going to tell you which one it is. But we tasted this one, and it's the only one we both spit out without even finishing eating it. Her husband came home from work, tried them all, that was the one he loved the most. So I'm not going to tell you which ones are good and bad, because everybody's taste is different, and you have to kind of figure it out. But they're high in energy, they don't take up a lot of room, they store for 5 years even in your car trunk. So they're really good for long-term storage. All right, here's another kit. This one has one of my biggest pet peeves, a wind-up flashlight radio. How many of you have wind-up things at your house? Okay, the reason why wind-up things are good is if you don't wind them up, first of all, the winding up is a pain. Okay, when you're tired and you're stressed, you don't want to be spending time sitting there winding and winding and winding and winding. And you can't even be quiet because it makes a sound. So the other thing is, unless you're winding it all the time, or if it's being stored in high heat, the batteries don't work. They won't work. It just won't charge. So when you go to use it, it's not going to be any good to you. So get real stuff. The other thing is the water. You probably didn't notice this, but this is a kit for 4 people. They have 4 1-cup boxes of water for 3 days for 4 people. See anything wrong with that?
No.
That's right. So water, how much water are you normally supposed to store for 3 days? 1 gallon a day per person. That's over 24 pounds of water for 3 days. So we're talking in your backpack. This is how much it weighs. That's just water in here. So realistically, you're not going to be carrying 24 gallons of water with you around unless you're some super buff guy and have a really big backpack. You are going to only have room for 4 pint bottles of water. And that's not very much water, but it's in a minimum amount. If you're not doing a ton of, lifting and walking and things, you'll be able to get away with that. So that's survival mode. You want to be able to have any other water, and that's why having a water bottle with a filter in it is another good thing to have as part of your kit. You can carry water in it. You can find water and purify it so that you will have some clean water to drink along the way. All right, backpack number 3 is the first aid kit. How many of you have bought pre-made first aid kits before? Or gotten them in your 72-hour kits? Okay. I don't know how many of you have ever seen earthquake pictures online when, from other parts of the world when they've had a big earthquake. Have you seen the people? Does it look like a Band-Aid is going to help them? Okay, a Band-Aid isn't going to help you either. And they'll tell you, oh, it's 87 pieces of first aid kit. But 55 of them are Band-Aids that are like not big enough for my 4-year-old grandson. So you need to be able to really watch, and really putting together your own 72-hour kit is not hard, and that way you can put in there what you want. So in mine I have like a basic 72-hour kit. This does have Band-Aids in it, but it has other stuff too. I've also got some gauze bandages, some burn cream, some Listerine, which you can use for an antiseptic to clean the wounds. I have Neosporin in there. I have gauze pads. I have things to try to minimize infection, because after big disasters happen, infection is a big problem. So you want to have a real first aid kit as part of your thing, not something just little store-bought that you get. And I will have a list for you of some ideas of things to put in there. Okay. Okay. This is another one for 4 people. And which I think is so funny, they have 1 tube tent, which I wouldn't even recommend putting in your 72-hour kit, but they have 1 tube tent for all 4 of them. And they do have some good stuff in here, but they have, so do you notice their food? They have bars like this, and they have water. They have a stove. Like, why would you put a stove in there? You don't need a stove for a 72-hour kit. You don't really want to be cooking for, you're not going to want to be cooking. When you are in a big disaster, especially like a big earthquake, a really big earthquake, You're going to be spending time getting people out. You're going to be tired. You're going to be stressed. You're going to be in shock. You're not going to want to sit down and eat a can of chili, and you're not going to want to eat a bunch of food. You just want something that's going to give you sustenance and, keep you moving. So you don't need to worry about cooking for your 72-hour kit. It doesn't need to take up room. It doesn't need to take up weight in your backpack. There is a saying that they have, hikers have, that is ounces are pounds and pounds are pain. When I first put my very first 72-hour kit together, and you're going to see a picture, these are the things that I had as part of my 72-hour kit, because these are the kinds of lists that you find of things that you need to have in your 72-hour kit. It felt like this. Okay? It weighed over 35 pounds. And carrying that around for, even down the street was going to be not comfortable for me. So when you're thinking of 72-hour kits as far as a survival mode, right? We're talking you're going to need to survive out of them. You're probably not going to want to be lugging around something big and heavy. You're going to want something that's lighter weight, that's easier for it to move, and that will take up less of your energy. Okay, so that led me to realizing that I was going to have to personalize my own 72-hour kit. I wasn't going to be able to buy a ready-made kit because all of them, I did not find one bought 72-hour kit that I thought it either has junk in it, they're expensive, they have stuff you don't need, they don't have stuff that you do need, just better to do it on your own. So, I don't know why there's pictures on here. Okay, so this is your get home or bug out kit. All right? The purpose of this kit is going to be getting you home from work if you work somewhere else, not home when something big happens, or you're having to leave the area because something big has happened, it's not safe for you to be here, and you can't go by car. Okay, that's why you would use this kit. So do you notice the kinds of things that are in it? All right. Oh, I see. Okay, so we have at the top a poncho, a mask. Lots of times after big disasters, there's a lot of dust in the air, so you want to have a mask on. They're really cheap to get. Keep them in your kit. You even want to keep them in your car because you never know where you're going to be when something happens. Some good sturdy gloves that are going to protect you from, everything. And a first aid kit, a little saw, some zip ties, all kinds of stuff. You're going to find it on the list. Other things that I want to talk about is, those little Mylar bags, sleeping bags, or the little Mylar bag blankets. You really want to spend some money and upgrade to, this is called a Bivy bag. It's by a company called Soul. They're a lot better made, they're bigger, they're just a lot more functional. We did some testing, I almost said taste testing. We did some testing in the wintertime when there was snow out at my daughter's house, and tested all these kind of bags that were out there. And this one by far did the best, this particular company. So don't get one of the little $1.99 ones. In fact, one of the ones we got, our cheapest one that we got, when we wrapped in it, the metal stuff was actually flaking off on my niece when she was wrapped up in it. So yeah, you don't want to do that. This is a black, it's called a 5-in-1. You can put matches in it. It has a compass on it. It has a whistle on it. It's this thing I'm talking about. Right here. Has a whistle in it, and which is really good for letting people know where you are, so it's good to have that. This is called a blast master. A blast match. You push down on it and it makes sparks, so it's a lot easier than doing that thing to make fire. This is just a cord. It's a bracelet made out of cord. It has 50 feet of cord on it, so it keeps your cord all nice and good for if you need for anything. These are my little fun thing that I made today. These are fire starters. These are just made with second time to say. Okay. These are just made with those little cotton pads that you just like to wipe your makeup off with. And I have one of those flameless candles at my house, and I just dipped it and dripped the wax on it, and I can cut up into fours and use that for a fire starter. So it'll hold my, my flip or my match or whatever. It'll start on fire and burn long enough that I can start other things on fire. And it's super easy to make. You can, cut them up really small and put them in something else, but just a fun little way to do things. This is my other fun thing that I want to show you. This is called Illuminate. It's really lightweight. You see how really small it is? You can use it like a flashlight. It's solar charged. So I can actually hang it on my backpack while I'm hiking, if I'm doing that, or walking wherever I'm going. It'll charge during the day, and then you can blow this up, and it floats, and it acts like a lantern when it's blown up because it diffuses the lights. So it's like a flashlight and a lantern all in one, and it's really small. So this is another really cool thing. Then make sure you have wallet with your ID and lots of small bills and pictures of your family. Both. That's so you can help to find your family if you need to find your family, and also is a comfort thing to just give you hope that you're going to find your family. Okay, so I noticed I had no clothes in my backpack because these are my clothes right here, and it would take up like the whole backpack. So I can put my jacket in here and it will fit in there nicely, but the other clothes, frankly, I'm putting them on. I'm not carrying extra clothes with me. I'm carrying one pair of extra underwear, one pair of extra socks. I'm not carrying anything else extra with me because you're just going to be too tired to even think about. You're not going to care about changing your clothes if you're living with a survival backpack. You really won't. You'll just go. All right, so this all got me to thinking. And I was thinking, okay, I know now what to put in a survival backpack, but it still just didn't feel right to me. It just didn't feel like that was the kind of kit that I was going to need if something happened. And yes, it would help me if I needed to go from one place to another. It will help that. And I'm not saying don't do them, but what I am saying is there is another way. So this is what led me to figure out what that was. This summer we had 3 different things where people had to evacuate. This is the sand fire. Do you notice what he's packing in the car? He's got work clothes that are still in hangers that he's putting in the car. Why? Because when things happen like fires or flooding or things like that, life still goes on. You still have to go to work, you still are going to church, you're still functioning in society. And frankly, the little clothes that I am wearing, in here, like my old sweats and this, cute little shirt of my husband's, I really don't want to go out in public in. It's good for hiking or, working or digging people out from stuff, but not so great for going out and dealing with insurance people and other things that you would have to do after something happens. And sometimes people don't have their houses when they come back because it's burned or it's been flooded out. And so what you take with you when you leave may be the only thing you have left. So make sure you've got some cute clothes because, you don't want to be wearing them. Okay. This is flooding in Louisiana. And our next class is going to be talking about evacuating. She might be going over some of this, but I want you to notice, I had to blow this up to see. But do you see right here in her bag, the one thing that she's taken from her house besides her children? Do you know what's in there? Cheese puffs. Okay? Probably not that important. So that's why listening to the next class is going to be so important to you. Okay, this is the Joplin tornado. There's like nothing left. So a lot of the people, what they were wearing is what they had left. So in all these instances, is this backpack going to do them any good at all? Not really. It has a toothbrush and toothpaste. That's probably in some medication and my glasses. Those would help me. And my wallet. But for the most part, this kind of 72-hour kit does not help somebody who's evacuating. So if a fire comes and you tell your kids, grab your 72-hour kit and this is what you have in it, this is what you're going to have. A way to survive, but not in our world the way that it is right now. You will be going somewhere. You may be going to an evacuation center. You may be going to a friend's or family's home. You may be going to a hotel. But wherever it is, you're going to be going and you're going to need to have clothes to change. So this lets me, I already talked about that. Okay. So got me thinking again. So these are some other things that happened. This was a big earthquake and people they're leaving, right? They're going somewhere else. This was the Northridge quake when everything fell apart and people couldn't get home that way. When the big one happens here, we could be completely cut off here, right? So I don't know that we're going to be putting on our little survival backpacks and hiking through the desert. What if it's summertime? You know, it's like 30 miles before you find water again. Okay, probably not really realistic. When those kind of things happen, most likely we're going to be sheltering close to home, either at our houses or somewhere in the neighborhood or maybe somewhere else if things are too bad in our neighborhood. But once again, some of this stuff might do some good, right? It will help us. But for the most part, we're to have emergency kits at home. And the other class we're doing next month is about earthquake, first things first, and it's about what's going to be happening and the kinds of things you need to have at home gathered together to be able to deal with too. So, got to come back next month because you're going to learn those things. All right, got me thinking again. There's everyday emergencies. Things like your child getting hurt in a baseball game and having to go to the hospital and maybe having to spend a few nights there and you have nothing with you, right? Because you went to the baseball game. Your car might break down not close to home and you've got 2 kids and what are you going to do now until the car gets fixed? You could have a child that goes into the hospital unexpectedly, and in fact this happened to my friend, and her son was in there for 4 days. She only was 10 miles from her house, but she didn't bring anything with her. And she asked her husband to bring her clothes, and she was like so mad at him when he brought him her stuff because it was not the right stuff. Husbands don't know what to bring you. You want to have things already. Okay, so there's also other life things that happen. When the fire broke out in the one we just talked about, the sand fire, the freeway shut down for 4 hours. I have some friends that were stuck in this traffic and could not move for 4 hours. They hadn't eaten all day. It was 4 in the afternoon. One of them is diabetic. She had no medicine. She had no food. They had no water. So you need to have things with you. This was the flood that happened. Remember when the 15 washed out just north of Vegas? My friend's husband happened to be on that freeway and was in between the places where it washed out in 2 places. He was in the middle. So all night he couldn't go anywhere. Didn't have food, didn't have water, there was no bathrooms close by. So what do you do with situations like that? What happens if you've got kids in the car with you when these things happen? Life is not going to be good for you. So let's see what I came up with. This little bug out bag is not going to work in those situations, is it? Nope. Oh yeah, maybe we could give the kids some 5 energy while we're sitting in. Okay. So, what kind of kit do we really need on a day-to-day basis? Do we need a kit like this? Yes, for a backup plan, because we never know when we are going to have to hike somewhere. But realistically, all these other situations we need a kit for that's not going to do good. So, guess what? We have a booster kit. Oh look, I came up with an idea. All right. All right, so you know diaper bags, right? Diaper bag is like a 72-hour kit for babies. It's so when you go out, you have everything you need. You've got food, you've got diaper stuff, you've got changes of clothes, you've got blankets that they like, toys that they play with, pacifiers, wipes, bibs. My granddaughter's drooling like you can't believe. Okay, so all we're talking about is like a grown-up diaper bag. That's what we need, right? That's what we need. So, this is my new idea. Dun, 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 dun. This is my 72-hour kit. Okay, it's cute, right? I could go somewhere with it. It's not like walking with a surf bag. Okay, so these are the kinds of things I have in it. Number 1, notice, cute clothes. Okay, I have in here, I actually would bring these jeans with me. And I have 2 shirts in here that I can wear. So now I've got 3 days worth of clothes. I brought some pajamas that could go for winter or summer. These are some other pants that I could have. I have underwear. I have, I've been traveling a lot, right? So this is my travel bag. It's really fancy, I know, but this is exactly what I use. I actually gave a new one today because my other one was kind of worn out. I was embarrassed to bring it. But this has all my favorite shampoo, my comb, my stuff I put in my hair, my toothbrushes that I like, some stuff to make my clothes not wrinkly, stuff in my hair. I even have nail polish and fingernail polish, okay? It's all the stuff that I use when I'm at home and when I travel. I just have doubles so that I can just grab this and I can keep it in, here. I also have a makeup bag because most women don't want to go out looking like they just woke up. And so if I'm living in a hotel or at a friend's house or having to go out in public, after all those disasters we talked about, I'm going to want some makeup. So either have doubles and keep it in your bag, or just throw it in whenever you leave the house, basically. I have my electronic bag. I have my computer backup. Everything on my computer is backed up on this. Even if I don't have my computer, I can plug this in and access all of my stuff. I update it about every month. I'm going to go home and update tonight's class because one time my computer got stolen 3 days after class and I lost that whole class. So I have a flashlight. I have a thing to charge my battery. I have a memory thing with all my important papers on it, so I have access to that wherever I'm at. Just a little bag for my electronics. I have a Word-Find book. And I have scriptures on my phone. So I have things to keep me busy in case I'm on the freeway for 4 hours doing, nothing. I have an electronic thing because I don't know how many hotels you've been to. The outlets are not always very close to you where you're sleeping. So this is, I can plug in my phone, I can plug in my computer, and I can charge things and I can have it, whatever. I bring this whenever I travel, one of these little things. I also have a snack bag. And this is for me not just like sugary snacks, although they are a little bit sugary, but they're the kind of snacks I use when I travel, and it would fill me up enough that I would be fine. Now, if I had a child, you might want a little bit different things in there. So these are all the things that I have in mind. I'm trying to think what else I have. I've got an extra pair of glasses and, an extra set of keys. So that's all. That's my whole 72-hour kit right there, in this one cute little bag that I got for free. So even better. Okay, if you see, this is so I don't have to wear my grungy clothes. Okay, if you have, so we'll call them a gag bag. Does that sound gross? A gag bag. What am I calling it?
Grab and go.
Yeah, grab and go. That's right, a grab and go bag. Okay, thank you for reminding me. All right, so this is a kid bag. So kid bag is getting obviously a couple changes of clothes for your kids, some underwear, their favorite blankie, a book if they're reading, water. I forgot to tell you water too. I have water always in my car, so I didn't put it in here because I have it in my doors. I've got it everywhere in my car, so I've got water. Games that they can play to keep busy. Some, a little travel, little hairbrush, toothbrush, their favorite toothpaste kind of thing. My grandson only uses strawberry toothpaste, he's got to have that. All kinds of games, and then there are snacks. When you're thinking of snacks for them, you want to think of things that are actually going to fill them up too, like peanut butter crackers or the crackers with cheese on them, or things that are going to be a little bit more filling, because after a while just eating snacks are going to probably drive you nuts. So, and you could be in the car for 24 hours, you don't know. Some of the people that evacuated from Louisiana, they were in the car 24 hours. That's a long time to be with your kids. Okay, you can load it in any kind of bag. Let your kids pick a bag. It could be an old backpack, it could be, diaper bag, it could even be just a pillowcase that you just cut the top and put some material through and it'll pull it close. The deal with this kind of thing is that you need to remember to take it with you every time you leave the house pretty much. Because I can tell you from my experience, sometimes you go out and very unexpected things happen, even close to home, that you don't have time to go home. Somebody that you're with has a heart attack, for instance, or you're in a car accident. Okay, things happen where you don't get to go home. So if you just get in the routine of picking it up and putting it in the car with you whenever you leave the house and having your kids do the same thing, you will always have these kits with you when you need them, no matter what happens. And when a fire or something happens that you do need to evacuate, your personal stuff is already packed. You don't have to worry about it. You can then worry about the other things that Jenny's going to talk to you about. Okay, so do you get all the reasons why this is such the coolest idea in the world? Okay, you want this kind of kit. Okay, so lessons I learned. We can't prepare for everything, but we can prepare for many things. Obviously, the kits that I have here are not going to cover every scenario in the world. And you would have that gigantic backpack if you did. Okay, realistically, but this covers the most amount of things, the things you're mostly going to have to deal with. So, your grab and go kits, you just want to grab them. Notice they're in the or in the back seat. When you get in the car, you're going to grab them. No matter when you're going, even if you're just going down to the valley to go do something. I've had a friend went down to the valley, it snowed. She couldn't get back up here. She had nothing with her. She had no place to stay, and she had no money with her. So, being prepared is a good idea. Your cruise ships, another good thing to prepare for. Bring some extra water and food with you. Sometimes things happen. So you just want to get in the habit of that because you never know when you're going to have detours ahead. So, I'm calling them throw and go, right? You're just going to throw it in and go. Have extra water in your car. Have extra blankets. I was telling one of my friends about this. I love this. Have you seen these? I got these at Costco last year. They're double-sided. They just have this cool little thing that you pull it off. It unrolls. It's two-sided. It's really super warm, and I've used it like 5 times already. I just keep it in my car all the time. When you're traveling with kids, you usually bring blankets and pillows with you, which is great because I love to sleep with pillows. So I might actually start keeping one in my car in case I get stuck coming home from Utah one day and I need to sleep in the car. I'm going to want a pillow. Okay. Take a portable modem with you wherever you go. I told you when I went to Utah that one time, my daughter picked me up from the airport. We went to a bookstore. While we were in the bookstore, my computer was stolen with everything I owned on. Every class I'd ever done, everything. And my backup company, who I thought was backing it up, hadn't been backing it up the last year and a half. They were surprised they even still had it in their system. So, because I'd gotten a new computer and I forgot to tell them I had a new computer, so they weren't backing up my new computer. So, those little modems, they're so cheap now. You can back up everything up on your computer in like 10 minutes, and then you will have everything that you need with you when you go. Have chargers in your car. I have chargers for me, and my charger in my car actually will work in the car, and I can use it plug it into an outlet, so I can take it with me if I needed to do that. I also have chargers for my husband in my car because we have 2 different kinds of phones. So have chargers in your car. And, okay, I know this might freak you out a little bit, but think about this. You're stuck on the freeway overnight with children and no bathrooms, okay? You want to think about how you're going to deal with that. So this is my solution, super cheap. You just get some kind of Tupperware container or Tupperware-like container that stays sealed, and they just go in this. And that's what you use. You even could do it yourself, okay? So super cheap. I know I don't really want to bring it up, but it's so practical, and you really need to know. Why is it so loud now? Okay. All right. So your end of the world bag, which I'm not saying not to get, but it's for a completely different kind of scenario. One that we probably may never ever experience in our life. Where those other things we talked about happen all the time. So have the 2 kits. All right. So, a lot of people are worried about the end of the world. And I'm not saying don't prepare for that. I'm just saying don't be focused on that. Don't be worried about the zombie apocalypse, which I think is the stupidest thing ever. But it does remind me of pandemics, so I just sort of think of it as pandemic people. And which is a whole different class. Okay, so if it's the end of the world, you're going to have to learn whole new skills. You'll get a whole new kind of makeup to wear. And you will be learning how to make shelters for you and for whoever else to keep the rain off of you. And, probably not going to keep the bears away, but whatever. You are your family storekeepers. You should store whatever your own family would like to have in case of an emergency. Your family might not like the same survival bars that I do. They might like a different kind. I don't care. Just get something in there that you're going to eat. I like them for a lot of reasons, but maybe you're going to want to go a different way. So figure it out for your family. Figure out the kind of clothes you want. Figure out the kind of knife you want if you want a knife in there. Oh, I didn't tell you, you can put a gun in here too. A lot of people do that. So that's up to you. So there's all these choices that you have out there. Don't let anybody tell you what you should or shouldn't be doing. You're doing it for yourself. If you don't know how to use a saw, don't put a foldable saw in there. Frankly, you could probably learn though, and it's a lot easier to cut things down than you want to burn. So I like that energy. Don't go home and be paralyzed with fear. One of the things that we've seen with people with food storage and with 72-hour kits is you get all this information. You got a lot tonight, right? You get a lot of information and you go home and you just don't know where to go and you just sit there. So have faith. Just start moving and you'll be good. Don't go home and just leave your backpack empty because you're not sure what to do. You've seen tonight that putting the 72 hours kit together can be very fast. I actually put both of these kits together in under an hour today. So it is possible. Now granted, I did have a lot of things at my house that most of you probably do not have. I get that. But it doesn't take that long to do, especially the base, especially this kit. You know, there's no reason why you can't put this together quickly. All right. There's no right stuff. It's just your stuff. So figure out what you want. All right. Don't you love this? There's two things I love about this. I'm going to tell you in a minute. Start going and keep moving. You know what I like about this? Those little brothers at the top of the stairs. Oh, come on, you can do it, you can do it. That's what we're for. You know, have us, have your family and friends be your support group. You all can egg each other on. You all can help each other. You all can do group buys together and put food kits together and, you know, gather your stuff and do orders together. Because the more you do with other people, the more likely you're going to keep going. So coming to class every month, which, by the way, I love how many people are here. So coming to class every month will help. We will give you ideas and inspiration and keep you motivated to keep going. And that's what Family and Friends can help with too. If you have nothing, the Lord cannot help you. He could not make the fish and the loaves multiply if he did not have those to begin with. I know a lot of you are struggling financially and it's really hard for you to think of putting stuff together, but I promise you, as you start working, gathering one at a time, one thing at a time, the Lord will bless you. He will be able to multiply your blessings. And as you do your very best, you will feel the blessings and you will be able to recognize that the Lord is helping you. And then you'll see miracles happen. You have to have the faith that He will be there to help you. He wants each and every one of us to be prepared. If we're not prepared, we can't take care of ourselves and our family, and then we're not in a position to help other people. And when the world falls apart around us, when the earthquake crumbles everything down, which I don't think it's going to up here right away, but you know, in case it did, just visually here, don't follow me. We will be in a position to help other people and not be just begging and trying to find scraps of food and water because we're able to take care of ourselves. That's the end. Thank you so much for coming. So are you loving the new idea?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Why did not anyone ever think about this? That's what I want to know. It's like, just seems so simple. So, and I really think that that's what preparedness is all about. It's about being simple. Okay. You turn that off? Yeah.